and welcome to this short video describing cybersecurity trends in 2023. My name is Ananth and I'm Chief Strategy Officer at NetSurian, and it's my job to think about these kinds of things. Who are we? We're a service provider that offers managed open XDR with about 250 employees, ingesting about 16 billion events a day. This has been going on for some time, so we're able to see some trends and I wanted to share them with you today. The first of 7 trends, coronavirus basically changed everything. Location became even less relevant. Employees are working from anywhere, grandma's home, kids' soccer game, you name it. And in-house data centers are migrating faster than before ever to the cloud. The use of SaaS applications is rising, and there is no indication that any of this genie is going to go back in the bottle at any point. Employees are not coming back to the office full time, and in-house data centers are not suddenly somehow going to start growing again. Attackers have noticed this and adapting to the new network diagram. The question for you should be whether you have changed accordingly. For instance, if the endpoint is now going to be at home, not connected to the office network, can you scan for vulnerabilities when the endpoint is away from the office? Or how about if your applications have moved from infrastructure that you host to platform as a service solutions in public cloud? Is your old time SIM converted to a new modern XDR? And are they now able to detect attacks in public cloud? How about if it's in SaaS like M365 or the G Suite or the Google Workspace or Salesforce? So that accelerated shift has this question for us. Second thing is crime does pay. At least that's the message that the attackers who succeeded so wildly with ransomware this year have understood. So not only are they going to target soft people, you usually find them in the always on broadband connected Western world, but they're now going to expand, to Europe. Also, they're going to focus on operational technology, often sharing the same network as information technology. We're talking about things like cameras, HVACs. These have become very popular as they are ways of improving efficiency, reducing cost. And if they can be soft targets, well, that's what the attacker is going to use to get a toehold in. They're also going to chase down some verticals for specific reasons. Manufacturing, because it has a heavy dependence on operational technology and historically has had a low investment in IT security. Also, medical pharma is going to be a target in 2023, simply because it has seen fast growth during the coronavirus time and is also a user of operational technology. Number 3 is a trend that's been going on for some time. That is the skill shortage of security professionals. There is no relief in sight. Blue team vendors such as NetSurian have expanded their operations globally in order to take advantage of labor in other areas other than North America. And the skill shortage has essentially followed that growth. If you're a network owner, one way around this skill shortage may be co-source specific skills, specific tasks, specific needs outside your company rather than try to do it all yourself. If you're an XDR MDR provider, then automation is going to help you as you try to get more and more to be done by the machines, learning, response, orchestration, remediation, things like that. And then, of course, dedicated training programs so that you can bring people in at a junior level and get them to be more senior as time goes by. Number 4, bad guys do homework. Are you doing it? Well, if you look at the postmortem for many visible successful attacks, you see that the attackers had patience. They carefully studied the target network map, the users, the patterns, and then crafted their attacks patiently to stay below the detection threshold. With this kind of a patient, stealthy approach, they were even able to compromise the most vigorously defended networks. Last year saw SolarWinds, it saw the Mandiant breach, it saw Log4j, it saw Cobalt Blue in times before that. So these are indications that bad guys are really doing their homework. How about you? Are you up to date with your own network? Has your network map changed meaningfully because of remote hybrid work? Maybe with the shift to the cloud? So in that case, have you reviewed your protection measures? Whatever was efficient and effective last year or the year before, Is it still the case today? What about detection coverage? Do you have gaps in it, or are you able to actually identify these kinds of things? By the way, notice that company boards are now forming dedicated cybersecurity committees. They will demand accountability. So they will come at you with these kinds of questions. So it's something that you should pay attention to. Number 5, cyber risk has begun to dictate business transactions in 2023 and beyond. After all, a company operates on the extended interconnected network, not just itself, but its supply chain, its vendors, its partners. And what we've seen is attacks on the company through the supply chain or through the partner. Can't compromise the company because it's well defended. Well, why not compromise the HVAC provider who perhaps is a small business and has weaker security as a way of compromising the company itself? So previously, when you thought about suppliers and vendors, you chose them largely on the basis of the quality of their offering, the price point, and the availability. But now in 2023 and beyond, expect cyber risk to be a factor as well, which means if you're providing these services to your customers, can you explain and demonstrate your cybersecurity posture? What if you were trying to take out cyber insurance? Can you demonstrate it? The AARP, for instance, has instituted a program where they will not accept vendors unless they satisfy certain criteria, can answer a survey. Are you in that position? Cyber risk is dictating business transactions. Number 6 is the rise of data privacy laws. GDPR in the EU blazed the trails. Governments are beginning to understand that just like they enacted motor safety laws in the 20th century with the rise of highways and cars and trucks, so also now with the interconnected internet, governments are seeing a need to protect citizens' rights and to defend their e-commerce. Enforcement, of course, is going to be spotty, as is the case with a lot of government action, which means the onus is going to fall on the network owner to demonstrate that they have in fact complied. This is a good candidate for outsourcing to a specialist. In the same way as you're probably not going to adapt your own legal agreements to satisfy GDPR, but will employ a specialist who can insert those necessary clauses. In similar fashion, this is something to consider outsourcing to a compliance specialist. The last one on my list is that identity is the new endpoint. Work from anywhere and remote access is now a given. You are who you authenticate as, not who you really are. Attackers have noticed this, and so they're busy compromising users. What should you do? Well, at a minimum, think about multi-factor authentication for high-value admin accounts. And think about mock phishing campaigns, because you've got to identify those users in your network that are vulnerable to these kinds of tactics, and then you can maybe send them for additional training. Of course, you should also use user entity and behavior analytics. This is a operationally complex problem, requires a lot of data to be gathered and an XDR, MDR solution that is able to take advantage of these. So that is certainly a question to ask your XDR provider. So those are my top 7 lists of trends for cybersecurity in 2023. Thank you for your attention. I wish you and your network assets a safe 2023.